You work hard to stay healthy and want the freedom to make the best decisions for yourself and your family. So why does healthcare still feel expensive and frustrating? Crowd Health is a different approach, built for entrepreneurs, families, and independent-minded people who want a simpler way to pay for healthcare. More than 28,000 members have already joined, and over 40,000 medical bills have already been funded. No restrictive networks, no corporate middlemen, just real people helping each other. Learn more at joincrowdhealth.com. That's joincrowdhealth.com. You work hard to stay healthy and want the freedom to make the best decisions for yourself and your family. So why does healthcare still feel expensive and frustrating? Crowd Health is a different approach, built for entrepreneurs, families, and independent-minded people who want a simpler way to pay for healthcare. More than 28,000 members have already joined, and over 40,000 medical bills have already been funded. No restrictive networks, no corporate middlemen, just real people helping each other. Learn more at joincrowdhealth.com. That's joincrowdhealth.com.
Yay Media Group.
Life is so short and it's a beautiful life. And we just have to keep reminding ourselves that there's hurdles every day, but you can always count on there being hurdles every day, but you cannot always count on there being a tomorrow. So enjoy the day. Be present in the day. Don't just pass it off to tomorrow.
Louisiana, Louisiana love, stars above, music below, dancing through the night. Louisiana, Louisiana love, softly as we step in time into the sweet divine. Oh.
Today's guest is Robin Barnes. She's a singer, songwriter, performer, founder of Move Your Brass, and truly one of the most joyful and generous people that I know. If you've ever seen Robin perform, you know that she brings incredible energy, presence. She brings heart to everything she does. What I've also found just as fascinating is what it takes behind the scenes to sustain that kind of life, because Robin doesn't just perform. She lives in every aspect of her life at a very high output. She's giving this tremendous amount of energy to other people always. She balances family, motherhood, her work in the community, her travel, her performances, all while she's continuing to create. Robin moves through life with so much joy, yes, but also a lot of discipline and just truly a sense of purpose. And so for me, this is the true wellness story. Robin joined me on this podcast a few years ago. I was actually looking, it was almost 4 years ago. And since then, so much has changed. She's now a mother of 2. And earlier this month, she released her first full-length album. It's a project that's rooted in her Louisiana heritage and her family history. Robin's also working on a new Louisiana-focused docuseries with WYES, where she's exploring culture and music and heritage across the state. So today, we're going to talk a little about the music and the projects that she has coming up. More than anything, I really want to talk a lot about what life is looking like for Robin right now, how she takes care of herself in the middle of all of this, and what she's learning in this time of her life. So, Robin, I'm so happy to see you again.
Hi, Molly.
So, what's happening? What's the snapshot right now? What does this, spring, May look like 2026 for Robin?
It is amazing. I feel like, getting so much love and support with the album. I mean, as an independent artist, the end of the day, if home and my songbirds don't support it, I can't do anything without them. And I've just been so happy that everyone's just been loving it and supporting. I call this time Strestival season when all the musicians are doing tons of gigs and tons of festivals. But just like honestly, having a great time, enjoying every moment.
And tell us what's so special, what's so unique about this project. And I have to say, it surprised me that this is your first full-length album, because you've dropped lots of singles before. So what's the difference for someone like what sets this apart?
Absolutely. So a single is just one song.
Right.
An EP is 6 songs, so half of an LP.
Is that what you've had before?
Yes, I've had EPs.
Okay.
So I've Billboard charted top 5 for 14 weeks with the LP Songbird Sessions. And so have big goals for this album. But no, the reason why I wanted to wait until I found my voice. Um, and I didn't know what that was going to be. I have a whole album already done before this album, but that album wasn't truly who I was. And I feel like, what is Robin? Who is Robin? And Robin is Louisiana, Robin is New Orleans. And I thought, why not have something that really just represents myself, my family, and at the time I had a tumor, and before we knew if it was a lipoma and benign, the reality set in for me, where in my family, oral tradition is how we pass on the stories. So 9 generations of women passing from eldest daughter to eldest daughter, all of our family recipes, all of our family stories, and the thought of mortality and the thought that I'm supposed to pass down 9 generations of storytelling to a
Right.
3-year-old. My daughter was 3, terrified me. So I thought, you know what? Why don't I create something in my own way as my version of storytelling, oral tradition, and make it an album, but also really dive in. So 3 years ago, I did a partnership with Ancestry. We did all the genealogy. I was able to then have the actual factual proof of the origins from one side of my
How
family,
cool is
starting with
that?
Nova Scotia, the indigenous side, the other side from France, the other side from Nicaragua. There was so much, and being able to put that in music form. So I actually have been researching every single aspect of Louisiana, from the Cajun side of the album to the Creole side of the album to the Zydeco side of the album to even obviously born and raised in New Orleans. I knew the New Orleans side, and every song is so intentionally curated. And that artist that is guest performing with me is the artist for that time, for that genre. And it's come out honestly perfection. I feel like the sense of home, every single person will relate to either the story, the feeling, or the music. But I promise you, someone's got at least one favorite song on this album, and I can confidently say that it's so good.
Was there so much that you learned? Because I would think that there's so much you know, but once you start to look in these other layers, look in these other genres, was there some that, like, you knew a little bit about, but now you feel like you're just so much more immersed?
I will say, I started this project and I humbly thought, okay, well, I think I've got a good gist on it.
That's what I'm
No,
thinking, right.
no, I so know nothing. I know a little bit, but that's why I did this with such intention, right?
Yeah.
I come into this world where there's these phenomenal artists in Acadiana, and I'm like, hi, I'm doing this album. I am promising I am not going to disrespect it. I want to learn. I want to learn about home. I want to learn about our home. And every single artist was more excited that a New Orleans artist wanted to bridge this gap between the New Orleans and Louisiana, but together. And that's what my family was about. So yes, I learned so much, and I'm still learning so much. I'm learning how to speak Creole, which has been a challenge because I'm also learning how to speak French to understand both. They're both different dialects, and the fact that the way they say number 3 is 2 different ways. It's just so much. And it's been so fun because regardless, there's a thread that is aligned with every single part of Louisiana. And that is, oh my God, we love music. That music is about home and joy. And the fact that, no, I may not play fiddle, but you better believe from my roots and their roots, we're still jamming. And it feels like I was born for this. And the fact that even how much I was so intentional with writing. I wrote for these artists to join me, and not one person said, well, you did it kind of wrong. No, they all were like, wow, this is great. Here's my recommendation. And here I am just like a sponge. I'm like,
Right.
give it all, like, tell me everything.
We have so much that we can learn from that and from your experience, because it's putting ourselves in these spaces, putting ourselves and surrounding ourselves with people who we want to learn from.
Yeah.
And like you said, humbly asking people stories, learning their stories, learning what's important to them. And even if we have we're not in the artistic space at all, we all can learn from that. And we sort of get in our spaces, and we get in our spaces where we're comfortable. And just, an hour, 45 minutes up the road, there's going to be entirely different cultures that maybe we've never experienced at all. And it doesn't even have to be that. It can be people in our family
Yes.
who we may not spend that time and sit down and ask these questions and really listen. So I think just that's a lesson for all of us and a reminder for all of us to take the time to slow down, to realize that we've got what we've got, but there's so much out here that can make us even stronger and build us.
I love that, Molly. I really believe that this project, because it was driven by so much love and intention to do something for my family, I really did step outside my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I'm I hate to say this, but I think I'm so much more wiser with interacting with different people because it's almost like finding a different world.
When you were with me on this podcast back in 2022, which is crazy, the time flies,
No, I feel
you
like it was last
shared
year.
it's I know, if you asked me, I would say last year, but you shared something that has really stayed with me. It surprised me, and I think it surprised a lot of people, and so it was a time. I think we have the clip. I think Garrett is gonna play the clip for us, so I won't even lead us into it. I'm just gonna play this, and I wanna get you to hear it, and then knowing what you've created since then, where your life is now, what your thoughts are on this. What is something that even those people or people who know you pretty well would be surprised to know?
I think one of my biggest, I guess you will, is like hidden truths is how I almost stopped singing. I almost stopped
The
singing.
gasp.
The gasp.
Oh my gosh. When and how?
You already know I don't remember the dates, but I did fall in love with someone, and his family was very well connected, and he was always traveling on business, and I was so lonely, and all I had was my music. But then that partner would come back and almost make me feel guilty because the one day they would come back would be one of the days I had to go to work. I had to perform.
You got to go to work.
I got to, exactly. I got to do what I love finally. And I started getting a lot of success from it, which is the irony because that person fell in love with me because of what I did. They were into me because of what I did. And then it was almost like what I was doing was a problem now.
Mm-hmm.
And when is this hobby going to end? I'll never forget that. When are you going to quit this hobby? It's with someone you're vulnerable with and love, who you think has your best intentions. You almost start believing it. I was very fortunate that that person broke up with me. But that was the first.
But before that person broke up with you, you were considering.
Oh, yeah. I was absolutely thinking, okay, well, what I'll do is when we get married, I'll give it up. I'll give up music when we get married because that's what will make them happy. So,
and you almost had to make a choice between music and this person. So it's a beautiful thing that this person made that choice for you.
Absolutely. Because I don't think I would have left.
Devastating at the moment. But.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the crazy part was, from there, that broke my heart so much. And I think that was the first and last time I ever would let anyone have control of what I wanted to do or what I loved to do.
It was that last sentence especially that just got it for me. This is the first and the last time you would let anyone have control of what you wanted to do or what you love to do. So
And it was.
It was. It was. And now with that and looking at where you are now with your first full-length album releasing, everything that you've created since then, imagine if you would have listened to that messaging.
I think it's insane. First of all, to hear my voice again, because it's that even that clip, you could hear how it was still painful, and I'm glad that happened because I will tell you, this album, it took me 3 years. 3 years, and it was such a beautiful experience, but very challenging. There were a lot of figuring things out on my own. I mean, like, there is no label here. And any label that wanted to work with me wanted full control of me, full control of my copywriting, my royalties. And I was like, maybe I can just do it on my own. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'll figure it out. And yes, it took me 3 years, but how amazing is it to say that now I have achieved this? And for whatever it's worth, I was able to grow as an artist. I am now able to say I can produce. That's not something that I take easily for granted, because I will tell you, Molly, learning how to produce something, learning how to navigate 20 amazing artists, 20 phenomenal people, but also what is it, a team of 30. You're constantly like herding cats and also trying to deal with the business and the marketing, and at the same time having this energy to go, this is going to be great. Isn't this going to be great? Guys, I'm doing this thing. You haven't heard it, but it's going to be great.
Trust
You're
me.
tired, doing paperwork, and you're doing all these things. And yes, there was so many times I wanted to give up, and I am so grateful, because you know what? Those moments where I felt overwhelmed and exhausted, my husband told me, then what was all of it worth? If you decided that this artist didn't want to work with you, and you think, okay, this is just really hard, maybe I shouldn't have done this, then what was all the time that we invested as a family? Was it not worth it? And every time he says that, I'm like, nope, I'm going to make my girls proud. Nope, I'm going to make my family proud. Nope, I'm going to make my city proud, my state proud. I'm doing it. And I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to finally have found a partner that believes in me and wants me to fly.
Doing this project, doing it on your terms, and as you said, not having anybody control what you're doing, and you having that full creative vision and putting it into place. I think that also, that lesson is probably one day a really good lesson that we just played also for your kids.
Mm,
That's a lesson to pass down of, look what almost happened and look how close we came to this, and rising above it. Now, getting even this much time with you is a luxury, and I'm really grateful for that. When I spot you out in like the wild and like actually in person, it's always even better. But your schedule is just over the top. And so, you know, anytime we've talked, it's been, you're up by 6 o'clock in the morning, you're working out, you've got events, you've got meetings, photo shoots, projects, you're recording through the day. Then you have gigs at night. You may start at 8 o'clock, and then you may, get home at midnight, 1 in the morning, and then you're back at it at 6 a.m. And you've got 2 children, you have a husband. So how does all of this fit into real life? Is that still the case? Is that still sort of what the picture of Robin's life looks like? And how are you protecting your energy, maybe even differently than you did just a few years ago?
Um, I've learned I still run a mile a minute. It's just within me. I'm a hyper like energizer bunny, but I have learned to try to not seek balance, to finally realize there's no balance, and that's okay.
Right.
There is no, okay, I have this amount of hours, and this is allocated to this, and that's allocated to that. And because now as a parent, for example, 2 days ago, I was supposed to film in the swamp. My makeup started at 3 a.m. and I was out the door, and my husband was like, I have a gig, so I can't bring our kids to school. And I'm like,
But I've got to
I'm
be in the swamp at 3 o'clock in the morning.
at the time you wake up at 6 a.m., I am in the swamp, And but then it was just like, okay, well, let's look at the calendar. These things have been planned. Let's figure this out. Let's navigate it. And, he was able to, move his stuff around and maybe show up on time instead of making his sound check. I had to then push my shoot a little bit earlier to be able to be on a call for what I needed to do. It's like a lot of pivoting. And
Yes.
I
Yes.
think giving yourself grace has been the biggest thing I have learned. And I tell every mom, yes, you may try to do everything, but you have to be okay to pivot. Nothing is ever going to go great, but you have to be able to pivot. So my days now, Molly, actually, I'm up at 5. Wake at
6 is a
5.
luxury.
I guess technically I'm up at 4:45 because I have to work out at 5. So I work out at 5 to 5:30. Some days 5:30 to 6, but then I have to be here by 6 because my daughter has to be to school by 7:15. So I really am intentional about not teaching my children about the rushing mentality. Um, that being said, I always say my child's a child and I'm the adult, and I'm teaching her how to
Yeah.
learn how to balance. So I get her up at 6, yes, but guess what? We're not rushing to get to school. We're taking our time. We're able to have breakfast. We're able to plan for her day. We're able to get dressed because I've experienced what it's like for these little humans when you're rushing and you're like, okay, come on. Okay, come on. Okay,
They're
wait.
internalizing.
And if they're internalizing, and guess what? It's not their fault
Right.
that you woke up late, mom. It's not their fault that you
Right.
forgot to put their snack in their book bag and forgot to sign that form. It's not their fault. So let's teach them how to manage it without stressing. And so
Mhm.
that's been my biggest lesson of if I'm teaching that to my daughter, how did I incorporate it in my life? So I'm instead of putting in 8 meetings in 3 hours, I'm learning to give space. I'm learning to give the moments to pivot and have a happen and be able to go, okay, well, let me figure out how
Mhm.
to work this out. And so, yes, it looks like I am balancing it all, but I'm actually learning to accept when things happen. And that's new Robin, old
Right.
Robin. This is the schedule. This is how it goes, and now new Robin is just, okay, let me plan as best as I can. Let me have plan A, plan B, plan C, especially with my children. Is it grandma
And
that can pick them up?
right.
Cousin too? Like what's happening?
And like you said, with balance, the concept of balance for people, I think looks up very different depending on what that career is and how much that drives us. And so the balance of okay, there's work and there's home and there's these between these aspects of it. I I feel like that used to be something that I would also chase. I need to have a better sense of balance. And I finally thought, I love these things that I'm doing, and I don't feel like I need to change this. And they're energizing me, and they're bringing such it's such a rush and such fun. So I don't feel like I need to. For you on wellness, on the topic of wellness and well-being, it's not something that's just like an abstract thought. This is something that is it's very much a reality. And so when you were with me in 2022, we talked about the health experiences that you had that sort of drove and was behind the creation of Move Your Brass. And right now, at what is one of the to date, I would imagine one of the biggest windows, biggest moments of your career in this month and these weeks around here, you also have another health issue that's come up that has really kind of brought all of this to a reality. The idea of storytelling for your family, it's real and it matters. So share with us a bit about that.
So, as I said, 3 years ago, I found out I had a tumor and we were watching the growth of it. And then after 3 years of it, we were able to remove it. And at that time, we didn't know if it was benign or a lipoma. But it was removed and the recovery was hard, but I was positive
It was
because
big. It was a lot coming out of that leg and
it
the
was
muscle, yeah.
5.5 inches. And I always wondered why I was having a hard time with working out. I knew, like, I lift weights, I could do all these things, but I was having a difficult time working out to my capacity because my knee would always hurt. And we found out it was because of the tumor weighing in my thigh. So, okay, new lease on life and excited to put out this album, even though the album was done in hopes to, in case I were to pass, I had something to give to my daughters and pass on to the next generation. And then we were done. We are like, okay, now it's just a celebratory album. We're good. We're done. And we had just found out that the tumor not only has returned, it has returned aggressively. It is still unknown if it will be potential of a low grade cancer, which is absolutely terrifying because the idea of it coming back was not on my bingo card, let alone the reality of it being potentially cancer. Uh, I it's very fresh still, so forgive me. The reality of feeling this fear of running out of time. And now with this album, with the docuseries, I feel like I want to do two things right now. I'm gonna stay positive, and I'm gonna beat this, whatever it is. I'm gonna beat this for my daughters. But it is this weird feeling of so much joy of what I'm doing and what I've created and celebrating it and putting it to the world. And then at the same time in the morning, seeing my daughters and wondering, will I always be here for you to get you dressed in the morning? Will I always be here for you? And I don't know the answers yet because we're right in the beginning of it all. And this album now is really like feeling like a legacy more than just music. And it's it is beautiful, and I'm extremely grateful now more than ever that I did complete it and I didn't give up. But it's just it's a little scary time right now. But it's okay. We're gonna beat this. You know me, I'm the most positive person ever. And I have to beat this. I have to fight it, whatever it's gonna be, because I I want to I want to live, and I want to be here for my daughters, and I want to continue passing joy into their life and teaching them to learn about just the beauty of the world and how precious life is.
We're going to be praying for you and keeping you close in our hearts. I know. I know. The the fears there and the unknowns, and having this push-pull of joy and celebration, and then the fears and seeing them and having so much love. And then um there's also a level of having that sense that things are very there's a finality to everything. And it can also it's a good reminder for all of us, I think, is what I'm trying to say, is right now, that's a good reminder for all of us to try to have that appreciation for the people around us always, even when
Yeah.
we don't have that health scare, to let that be a reminder to always look at these people that are the closest to us and not take them for granted, and to celebrate them every day.
I always say, like, oh, just tell the people closest to you you love them. Even this morning, I was just staring at my daughter, my eldest, and she's so amazing. And she looked at me and she was like, "Oh, did you want one of my apples?" 'Cause she was confused why I was
She's like, why are you staring? What's going on, mom?"
I was like,
You
"No,
know
no, I just love you." And she just looked at him and she goes, "Oh, I love you more than you know."
Aw.
I'm like, "Where does she get that from?" And Pat's like, "You tell her that." And it's like to
Oh.
see the direct influence of love that I put into my children and give back is just so rewarding. And yeah, like right now I am enjoying every moment with them. I'm enjoying every moment of this album. And you know the craziest part, one of the songs on the album, they sing on it. And
Oh
I
gosh,
think
yeah.
that's like the most powerful gift I could give them and myself. So like every day I may have my moments of just I cry every morning before they wake up so I can get it out. But I listen to their song and it's called They Say Run. And it's about my grandmother calling me to when I was playing outside to come back home. And then it's me telling my daughters to come back home and their little voices are on it. And it's just the most beautiful thing ever. And I can't wait for you to hear it.
They say run, they say run. Come back home, come back home. They say run, they say run. Come back home, come back home. Oh, when I was a little girl, I'd go
It's just
outside till it's time to come.
I tell everybody life is so short. Life is so short and it's a beautiful life. And we just have to keep reminding ourselves that there's hurdles every day, but you can always count on there being hurdles every day, but you cannot always count on there being a tomorrow. So enjoy the day be present in the day. Don't just pass it off to tomorrow.
I think this experience with the album, with your family, and with your health has really, really honed in and really made this just such a right at the forefront. And everything that you're doing is you're leading with this is the priority, which I think we don't have to say anything more. I think that we will, but that is, I think that alone is such a powerful reminder for all of us to lock into that joy, hold those people so tight and celebrate and have that gratitude every single day for them. All right, so let's shift slightly, or maybe more than slightly, because even in the middle of all this, there's been such an emotional element, even more heightened than usual. But there's also been a big focus on your physical wellness, your physical and personal well-being. You had a post on social media recently. It was a picture from a photo from before, and you had referenced something about not being super comfortable, and I'm paraphrasing, it wasn't this, but super comfortable in your skin at that time. And you're always stunning and you're always beautiful. And your point though of that post that you shared with me was not about that, about the transformation, but more of a motivation for moms to say,
Yep.
hey, give it time, give yourself that window. Don't put all this pressure on yourself. It'll come. And
Exactly.
so,
I was telling Molly earlier, I was like, with that, it was like, oh no, most women that I have asked, I'm like, when I had my first child, I gained so much weight and I am an athlete. I'm like, how fast will this drop off? And people are like, oh yeah, in like 3-4 years. And I was like, what? And then in between that postpartum, I had another kid. And so we just were just adding on the years of loss. And so yeah, so finally that album, like I said, I started it 2 years ago. So that video was years ago. And to compare to what now, 11 hours a day, eating, like not eating, it's just the stress of it all.
when you are in that space though, you did mention that like you're meal prepping, you're kind of planning that stuff. Are you looking at how you're nourishing your body through hydration, through food, through nutrition? I know movement you have built in some through performing, but you're also very you know, rigorous, and you've always had movement as part of your lifestyle. So when it comes to food and nutrition, what are the things that your non-negotiables that nourish you well?
So, I mean, at the end of the day, just to give some idea, in the studio, regardless if it's just my vocal day or us actually performing with an entire band, we have to do these songs over and over and over and over. And what I found out is I have to belt every time the
You
band plays. And that was like, I mean, I was scared of losing my voice. I
Yeah.
was drinking, because we love our Evermore water. I was drinking 2 64-ounce Evermore waters literally every day. I'd be in the studio from 11 hours, 8 to 11 hours. So my non-negotiables were, and don't laugh because you're going to be like, that's not as nutritious as you think. I just love fruit. So like I would be the Tuma oranges. I was all up in literally eating like 8 a day. I always had to do a protein shake in the morning, and my husband would make it, and he's the one about, you have to have protein. He's like, the I will let anyone know who wants the smoothie, but it's just gross. It's so gross. And
Thanks, Pat.
in
I
between,
love that though. Thanks for taking care of our Robin.
so gross. And so, but I was also lifting weights in the morning too.
Mhm.
So I had to make sure I was packing in that protein. But yeah, my fruits are non-negotiables. I obviously, I was running into a challenge of finding meals that would work. So I actually would either meal prep, just like chicken, which was so basic, chicken and vegetables. But my secret, and Molly, I don't, you could tell me later if that's like the worst idea ever, but my secret was Ethiopian food. They
Mm.
have chicken. I think it's like chicken dora with spinach and cabbage and lentils. And for some reason, I could make 2 meals out of that and I could eat it all day. all day long. And I found out due to the owner telling me personally that he figured out the Uber Eats order for Robin every day to Esplanade Studios might be me. I was eating it a lot, and I still eat it a lot. I'm going to order it as soon as we get off this call.
Yeah. Well, it's also the flavors there are something that would take us a lot to recreate this in our kitchens. And so it's so interesting. It's so dynamic, and it's so like every bite is a whole nother little celebration happening. Thank you for having, in the scheme of what we're talking about, appearance and how we're making our chicken is not very significant or impactful. But I also do think that it is what is your daily. It's what you've got so much going on. You say, okay, I think you're doing your meal prep. Pat's making your protein drink. Thanks, Pat. You've got your fruit in here. You find these go-tos. It's got to be easy. It's got to be fast. It's got to be convenient. It's brought to your doorstep. You've got this nourishing food. And all of that has helped support you through this journey of creating such a beautiful album. And whether it's post-baby, it's with stress, it's with all these other things going on, but the physical transformation that even when you look at it, you go, wow, okay, I feel good about where I am. All of these things, I think there's still a lot of unknowns and uncertainty, but it's such a beautiful space right now to have this album release, to have this family, to have just so much love, so much celebration. So, as you're giving so much joy and you're bringing so much energy to other people, what is the thing that you want most for your children to think about you and remember about you at this point in their lives and at this point in your career?
Oh, I think the most important thing I want them to know is that mommy loves them so much, and that I literally am always going the distance and pursuing my dream and not giving up, because I want them to know they can do it too. And I think that at the end of the day, I was so lucky. I am so lucky to have amazing parents that told me I can do it. Don't give up. I can do it. Don't give up. And I think living that truth for my daughters is so impactful. And yeah, I don't know. I love them so much. And they are my motivation for really doing my best with this album, bringing it to the world, doing as much as I can to share it, but most importantly, making it as full of love as possible.
I love it. And I love you, Robin. Is there any other thing that we haven't talked about that is professional, that is personal, that is well-being, that you feel like is important to share?
I did. I totally forgot another thing that about the diet that we're talking about. The additional things. After I had my first daughter, I ended up having Hashimoto's. So
yes.
I had to cut out breads, wheat products, a lot of so everything's gluten free. And I say that because I'm like, it's one of those things where you're like, no, I'm just, you're like, why is she only eating chicken, spinach, and lentils and cabbage? That's weird. And I'm like, oh no, I actually can't. And I felt it, for a long time I would lose my voice. And we had to, thanks to you, Molly, we figured it out, because I was losing my voice after I would eat bread. And it would do some kind of stress and my thyroid, and it was just so much stuff. And we were like, what's going on? And thanks to you.
And Alexis, yes.
Alexis, shout out to Alexis.
Alexis on our team.
We got to really narrow down what I need and what is in everything. I mean, remember I was so scared at the beginning. I was like, I can't eat anything. And you're like, calm down.
We got to get you in. Let's get Alexis to see you. She'll take care of you.
Truly, Molly, I'm so grateful for you, and I'm grateful to Alexis, because that was a major, major shift in my diet. And that was about 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're my reason why some of it started. You're like, I wonder what she's doing. Will she cut out?
But it's also people want things quick. We want that instant result. And
Right.
when you look at Robin and you look at your successes and you look at what you've created and you look at your health and you look at your appearance and what you're doing inside out, spiritually, creatively, years in the making. There's no instant. It's going to happen now. And it's putting in that work. It's being relentless with putting in that work, that passion. It's keeping that priority. So many times what we say is what we want. What we're actually doing doesn't align with what those priorities are. And every single day, you're keeping that focus, you're keeping that drive toward what these priorities are. And it's family. It's creating beautiful, beautiful music and beautiful stories. And I love that for you.
You're the best.
Thanks so much for your time, Robin. I love you so much.
Thank you, Molly. Love you too.
Always love my time with Robin. So grateful for her to share her time, share her energy with us. I know that you're loving her music already. I'll include the links in our show notes that we talked about and where to find more for her full album just released. And let me know what you think. If there's things that she said that resonated with you, that struck you, let me know that. Also know that we'll be pulling from this podcast and turning it into one of our inspiring stories columns for The Advocate. So thank you to Robin for allowing us that and sharing herself with us. I am registered dietitian Molly Kimball, and you've been listening to Fueled Wellness and Nutrition, the podcast. If you'd like more Fueled Wellness and Nutrition, head over to mollykimball.com. You can follow me, Molly Kimball RD, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you haven't yet, please go to Apple Podcasts and subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. Join us next time for another dose of Fueled Wellness and Nutrition. Thanks for listening, and stay focused on living your strongest, healthiest life.